Hi, it's Matthew here from Simply Spanish Wine, and today we're looking at wine labels. Thanks for joining us for another video here at Simply Spanish Wine. And today we're going to be looking at the kinds of things you can find on a wine label here in Spain and what that tells us about what's actually inside the bottle. Wine labels are important. They're the winemaker's calling card, and the image on the bottle is often the first thing we see when we walk into a wine shop. If we like the design on the front of a bottle, we'll often end up buying it. And if the image sticks in our mind, it can help us keep coming back and buying the wine again. But design questions aside, wine labels are also important because they contain a host of really useful information which is there to help and guide us as consumers. One of the most important things that a wine label can tell us is provenance, or where the wine is actually from. So here in Spain, if a wine is from a specific Denominación de Origen Protegida, or DO for short, it will say so on the wine label, usually in a pretty prominent place, because to some extent that's a sign of quality and something that the winemaker wants to shout about. That said, in some bits of Spain, some producers are choosing to opt out of the Denominación de Origen rules because they find them too restrictive or too generic. So in places like Rioja, for example, look out for new wines which have the words Vinos de Pueblo or Viñedos Singulares on the label. That tells you if a wine is from a specific village within the region, or even from a specific vineyard plot. Another key aspect of wine labels is allergy information. Under EU law, if wines contain sulfites, contiene sulfitos in Spanish, it has to say so on the label, in case consumers are allergic. This is quite a contentious issue in wine circles. Remember, sulfites happen anyway. They occur naturally during the fermentation process. Winemakers can also add them to their wines at the bottling stage to act as a preservative. Sulfites can help keep the wines fresh and prevent oxidation. But even if a winemaker hasn't added any sulfites to his or her wines, it's likely that the naturally occurring sulfites will still exceed the minimum 10 milligrams per litre declaration threshold, and so it will have to say so on the label. Other information we're going to find on the bottle? Well, one very easy one is the size of the bottle. A normal size wine bottle, this will be expressed as 75 centilitres. Or, if you're lucky enough to be drinking a Magnum, it'll be 150 centilitres. Do you know why a normal sized wine bottle is 75 centilitres? Well, there are lots of theories about this, but one of our particular favourites is that before wine bottles were made industrially, 75 centilitres was more or less the size of a typical glass blower's lung. So that meant that's the size that he could make a bottle with one single puff. Something else you're always going to find on a wine label is alcohol content. This is expressed in a percentage and is rounded up. In other words, if a wine is tested in a laboratory and it's 12.37% alcohol, let's say, that will be rounded up to 12.5%, and that's what it will say on the label. But don't get too hung up about alcohol. But what I mean by that is, don't worry too much if you see wines with 14, 14.5 or even 15% alcohol on the label. Remember, wine is made by the naturally occurring sugars in grapes being converted into alcohol. So it's only natural that in hotter climates there will be more of those sugars, and as the grapes ripen, they will turn into alcohol, and the potential alcohol level in the wines will be that much higher. In a hotter climate, the winemaker's skill is trying to ensure that that alcohol doesn't dominate the wine. So what he or she is looking for in their wines is perfect balance between alcohol, acidity, sugar and tannins. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we hope this video has given you a little bit more information to help you navigate Spanish wine labels and understand better what you're looking at. If you like the video, say so, or share it with your friends, or even subscribe to our Facebook channel if you haven't done so already. And if you've got any questions or feedback, We'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again soon on Simply Spanish Wine.